Welcome to the Stay Hungry podcast. Today, we are joined by Nicky Billou. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here, Matt.
Absolutely. I brought you on here because you are a best-selling author and a podcast host that has done over 1,000 episodes. You've had people on like John Maxwell, George Ross, Barbara Corcoran, Jack Canfield, and so on. And you help owners to scale their companies to 7, 8, and even 9 figures. So you are crazy qualified to be on this podcast. But to begin with you, take us back to where all of this started for you personally in your life.
Sure. I'm originally actually an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran, and the moderate pro-Western government of the Shah was replaced by a repressive, theocratic, Nazi-like regime of the mullahs. And my mom and dad, man, they were freaking out because there were gun battles going on near our home. And one day, their freak-out factor just went up 1,000-fold. There was a crash through our living room window. This object sailed through. There were glass shards flying everywhere. And it landed next to my feet. Now, I'm a kid, man. I'm 11, right? And I don't know what the heck this thing is. But my dad did. It was a bottle full of liquid. It had a rag in it that was burning. It was a Molotov cocktail, a homemade bomb. So Dad ran, grabbed it, pulled out the burning rag, and obviously it didn't explode. That's why I'm still alive here talking to you today. But that's when him and Mom just looked at each other and said, that's it, we're out of here. So they made a plan. They took me and my 2 younger brothers out of Iran, and they brought us to the West. First to Europe, and then from Europe to North America, to Toronto, Canada, where I now live. Now, you got to get, I'm a kid. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you were a kid once yourself. I didn't want to leave my home. I didn't want to leave my friends. Okay. But time goes on, and I started to see what a noble sacrifice my mom and dad made, because they left behind everyone and everything they knew for a chance at a better life for me and my 2 brothers. They took us from a legacy of tyranny to a legacy of freedom. I believe inside every human breast beats the living heart of freedom. Every man and woman on this planet yearns to breathe free, to chart their own course, to march to the tune of their own drum. And entrepreneurs, they're freedom men. They're freedom women. Because they have the courage to dream. And their dreams move the human race forward. And I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And my father was an entrepreneur. My father was the greatest man I ever knew. Yeah. Because if you knew him and you were looking for work, he would close the door to his office. He'd clear his calendar. He'd call all his friends until one of them gave you a job.
Wow.
If you're trying to start a business, he'd do the same. Sit down with you, listen to you, give you his best advice, even put you in touch with people who had capital or customers for you. And if you were trying to start, life off by buying a new car or a new home, Iran was a second world country at the time. And, you wouldn't get all the money you needed from the bank necessarily. They'd give you only this much. You'd have to go to other sources like family and friends and get money that way. So people would come to my dad and say, Mr. Napoleon, his name was Napoleon, I need 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 to buy this car, this house, this apartment. And he'd go, sure, he'd write him a check. If there was friends, he'd do it all the time. And then they'd save up money for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, and they'd come to him and they go, hey, I want to see you. And he goes, sure. And they go, here you go. And you go, what's this? He says, well, it's some money I owe you. He says, you don't owe me any money. He says, come on, you lent me this money, to buy my car, my house. That wasn't a loan. That was a gift. I go, no, you can't do this. And people go, come on, man. What are you talking about? Iranians do this. We got this whole cultural thing. No, you can't. Yes, I can, blah, blah, blah. It's called taruf, right? It's this cultural thing where they just do a dance. And then finally they'd go, okay, but what do you want me to do with all this money? And he would tell them, go find someone who was as badly off as you were when you came to see me and give it to them. Right? That was the kind of man my
Right.
dad was. I wanted to be like him, and that's why I got into business. And there's a lot of people I found in the world of entrepreneurship who are good people, but they're not good at business. They're bad at marketing. They're bad at branding. They're bad at selling, especially. They don't want to be seen as one of those pushy people, pushing themselves on the people, blah, blah, blah. So they don't go after business they should. And they don't get it. And some charlatan marketer comes and scoops up that business, man. And boom,
Right.
right? The client, they lose because they don't get their problem solved. They get ripped off, more or less. You lose because you don't go after business that you could have used. And even the charlatan loses because, what goes around comes around, the iron law of karma. And so,
Right.
I know how to sell and I don't have those kinds of thoughts. So I started teaching people how to reframe selling from this horrible thing being pushy to an act of love, an act of service. Because listen, nobody wants to be sold. Matt, you don't want to be sold. I don't want to be sold, right? But don't you love being served by a caring person? Don't you want to give them
Exactly.
your money? Don't you want to buy from them? Because I know I sure do. And I just taught people how to think like this. And so many of them doubled, tripled, fivefolded, tenfolded their business.
Do most sales guys, you think, love customers though, or they're more like a trickster, you think, in your point of view?
I think those days are over. Most people are good people and they want to do the right thing. They're just afraid they don't want to be seen as bad people, at least in my experience.
So if a sales rep loves their customers, then what? What can they do to then grow at their sales force from that point on?
Look, man, like I say, if you look at it from the point of view of serving somebody, you take the attention off you, you're putting the attention on them. Because if you go
Huh.
into a sales conversation, you're thinking, I hope they like me. I hope they buy from me. Please, please like me. Please buy from me. People feel that. It feels weird. But if you're thinking, man, I'm just here to be of service. I'm just here to do my best. And if I'm able to help these people, I will. And if I'm not, I'll put them somewhere else. And buddy, just showing people how to do that changes everything.
So it really comes down to service them for you. You are also like the personal brand king. Like you are everywhere online. I'm curious, like your tips on how you're able to do that from like a branding like perspective there.
Well, appreciate you saying that. Let me tell you a story of one of my clients. Okay. So this guy's a recent client. He's a father and actually a relatively new grandfather. He had kids
Huh.
young and his kids had kids young. He's
Gotcha.
not even 50 yet, man. It's crazy, right?
Shoot.
Um, but he's a good dude. And he's a real estate investment expert. And he's especially an expert in RVs and RV parks. A lot of people today in real estate investing talk about apartment buildings, multiple family units, things like that, right? In fact,
Right.
everybody talks about that. But he's talking about RV parks. And when I met him, I told him, look, dude, you can't just go online and say, look at me, I got a nice RV and come check out this park. You got to give him a reason to talk to you. And he says, how do I do that? So I said, come do this program and I'm going to teach you. And I said, the first thing you got to do is you got to create in the mind of your prospect an enemy.
Hmm.
And then the prospect gets to be the hero. And he goes, well, who's the enemy? Well, the enemy is like low returns, people doing the same thing everybody else is. And they're the hero when they find something that gives them higher returns. And you got to attack the enemy is apartment building investors, multifamily. So start doing all these, like write out a series of reasons why RV parks are superior to multifamily. And then we created like a whole um, set of talking points, and boom, we started doing these videos online. And there was a lot of people who started like fighting with him. Now, what are you talking about? This is good. It got engagement going, right? And then there's a bunch of
Right.
people that, well, yeah, you're right, man. Everybody's doing this, man. It's not as good as they say, blah, blah, blah. Boom. He went from doing 0 sales. 1 month, he did $60,000 in coaching program sales. 60 grand.
Just from doing that one thing, he went like and changed that
not
much.
one time, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying, but still, from that one trip,
hey, I
he
did
was
this,
able
and
to
all
do
of a
that.
sudden money fell on my head. It's not like that. But it was a powerful message that was able to get a lot of people on his calendar. You follow me? And
Right.
these are people with money to invest. So he said, I'll show you how to do it. And here's my program. Here's the investment. You in or out. And, he's charging like 8-10 grand for his coaching
Wow.
programs. So he was able to sell a bunch.
What if they have like their message, but they can't pay for it? They can't pay for like the advertising, the marketing for their company from that point. Then what do they do?
Well, I actually am not a big believer in advertising, because I think advertising, people don't trust it the way they used to, because they know you're kind of paying to
Fair
play.
enough. Yeah. Yeah. Fair
Right?
enough.
I think it's better to do organic stuff. You know what I'm talking about, Matt? So go on
Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on your podcast. You didn't charge me for this, right?
Right. Right.
Right. But a bunch of people are going to see me, and they're going to go, wow, that crazy dude. Look at what he just taught this dude. Maybe he can teach me how to do it too. Right. And,
Right.
you and I are going to spend a half an hour here. You're going to get to know me. I'm going to get to know you. Listen, I'm old fashioned, but I honestly think even young people are old fashioned in this way. I do business with people I know, I like, and I trust. And I think at the end of the day, that's when you're spending a lot of money. Like, I'm not talking about buying a banana at the store. I'm talking about spending 5-10 grand. Right.
Right. Right.
I better know you. I better like you. I better trust you. I'm not going to give you my money just based on an ad I saw some.
What's tough though is that trust takes time to build, right? For like a podcast or at the whole like organic route, it takes probably months or years to build all that trust up, right?
Trust takes a second. Trust takes a second.
You think so? Okay.
Listen, man, if you're a kind of person who just doesn't believe in trusting people, well, that's on you. Okay. And you got to ask yourself why that is. Are you an untrustworthy person? Is that why? And is that why you think other people are untrustworthy? Because let's be honest, when you meet someone in a moment and you're fully clear, you can tell in an instant whether that person is worth trusting or not. In an instant. In an instant, the vibes are going to come your way. And if they're worth trusting, that doesn't mean you're going to open up your kimono and give them all your money or anything like that. But you have made a decision in your mind. This is a person I can trust to continue to keep talking to them, or no, bye-bye, leave. You follow me? Now there's con men out there. There's con women out there. I get all that. And you're going to get burned. I get all that. But look, you want to learn how to trust people? Put this damn thing away. Learn how to be with a human being. Learn how to collect input from all your senses. Like, is this a decent person? Do they look like they're hiding something? Are they giving off this energy of they're trying to scheme? Like, come on. Man.
Right.
I mean, you're a grown man. You cannot in 5 minutes tell if a guy's like got an angle.
Well, we all can't because we're human, right?
Right. So let's be honest. All this BS is about it takes years to trust. No, it doesn't. You know in a moment whether that person is worth trusting. Now, there are levels of trust. Okay. But from the moment you and I met, we made a decision. We can trust each other enough to have this conversation. Because if you felt bad about it, you'd say something and say, you know what? I don't think this is going to work. I got to go. Bye. So would I.
Right.
So would I. Right. Now, if there's a deeper level to this relationship to be had, that's going to take a bunch of different interactions on our part And by the end of 30 minutes together, you're going to be thinking to yourself, I like this guy. I think he's a good dude. I want him back. Maybe I want to have another conversation with him separate from the podcast, or I don't, and I don't want any of that. And I want to make the same evaluation,
Right.
and I think everybody does. Don't fool yourself by going, well, I need this, and this before I can say whether I trust somebody or not. No, you don't. You don't. You don't need any of that. You need to have your eyes and ears open and take in input.
Okay. I want to now pivot to scaling. So if you have a company and it's very small right now, how does someone grow from like 100K, for example, to like let's say 1 million, 10 million for like sales from that point for that one company?
Well, let me give you a couple examples. Again, I had a young man who's in his 20s, and he owned a painting company. His painting company was worth just under 400K a year in sales. And he wanted to scale it to 1 million. So the first year we worked together, what we worked on for him was, you need more at bats and you need bigger potential clients that'll spend more money on you. So he has this thing where he wants business that's above a certain amount. And we really focused on getting him in front of people that were buyers. So in his first year with us, he went from 400K to 600 and change, 55% growth. Just from doing that one thing differently, getting in front of more people. This year, year 2, I mean, at the end of June, it'll be halfway through the year. And, his busy months are kind of like May, June, July, August, September, October, right? So we're in Canada.
Right.
And that's, warmer months type of thing. And the first thing that was clear was that this guy was buying the story that, oh my God, the colder months, I won't get much business. And I sat with them and I said, man, I want to see you get to 1 million this year. Do you want to get to 1 million? He goes, yeah. I said, here's what it's going to take. You're going to have to push harder than you've been pushing with sales. You're doing okay at sales, but you're not a master at sales. So I said,
Right.
I'm going to do a daily coaching call with you, a daily call for the next month. He said, really? I said, yeah. So every day we had a call. And I would dissect everything he did. I'd tell him what he did well, when he needed to do better, and then I'd give him things to do for the next day. Anyways, he made $75,000 that first month.
Wow.
Second month, he made over $80,000 in sales. We did daily coaching calls for 58 straight days. I don't do one-on-one coaching calls in my business. My girlfriend does all those. But I know this guy needed it, and I love him, and I want to see him win. I call this love tough. You got to love people, but then you got to be tough on them. And I was tough on him. I'm still tough on him. I want him to have like $100,000 a month, 3 of those in a row. He's never done that. He's had like isolated $100,000 months. But if he does $300,000 months in a row, he's well on his way to $1 million a year this year, man.
So
And
what changed, do you think, for him
is
then?
pushing him to act, to do the sales stuff he doesn't want to do. Because let's be honest, Matt, most people don't want to sell. They just don't want to sell.
Right.
They're afraid of it. They think it makes them look bad. They think it's, you name it. Pull the excuse of the day out and attach it. Because it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is they're scared. But you ever played sports, Matt?
Yeah, sort of. I did track, so kind of.
Did you have a coach? How long did you run track?
It was for about a year.
What would your coach say if you missed? 2 days of practice in a row.
He probably called me out, because it's like his job too.
Right. Right. And if you want to stay on the team, you better turn that around, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I treat this guy like he's on a team, and this is his practice. He's got to listen to sales training, and he's got to be in front of people and ask them for business. See, you have to do that. There's no way getting around that. Everybody wants to run ads and hope that the ads will do the sale for them. They won't. Not if you're selling high-ticket items. They won't. They're going to buy from you. They got to get to know you. So you better get good at being in front of people and letting them see the real you. And you got to get good at making offers. Honest, genuine offers. Don't offer something to someone who doesn't need it. But if someone needs it, man, I'm all in. I will keep going until they tell me a firm no or a firm yes.
Really?
But I will not let them give me a bullshit answer like, I think I need to talk to my wife. Someone goes, I need to talk to my wife. I go, I can appreciate that. Other than you think you need to talk to your wife, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to scale your business and get it out of the ditch that it's been in for the last 5 years? Well, he kind of feels dumb when I say that to him, right? No,
Right.
there's no reason I wouldn't want to do that. And I go, okay, is your wife your business partner? No, but we share everything. And then I say something like this to him. I go, okay, your wife's not your business partner, but you share everything with her, right? Everything, right? Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Does that mean that you bring her in all your operational sales conversations? No? Oh, okay. So not everything. You just bring her up conveniently when you don't want to make a decision, right? And I say that to them.
Shoot, that's
And they
pretty
go,
good.
oh my God. And I go, listen, are you a man? Because, you look like a man to me, right? I said, why are you hiding behind your wife's skirts? Does it make sense to solve your business problem or not? I'll ask him that. Does it make sense to solve this problem or not? Do you want it to keep going for another 6 months or a year? What would happen if you didn't solve this for another 6 months or a year? I just said, I thought you wanted to solve this. That's why I made you an offer. If you really don't want to solve it, then let's just part as friends now. Because I don't want to convince you to do something you don't want to do.
Right.
But if you do want to solve it, can we cut the crap? And I'm that
So you'll
straight.
come back to them several times then. Like you'll come back to them like 2, 3, 4 times until they tell
Yeah.
you no, it sounds like.
Either they tell me no or they tell me yes. But if they lie to me, I'll call them out on it. Because you see, they're just scared and they don't know how to be honest with themselves, never mind me. If someone really needs my help, if they really need my help, the only reason they're saying no is because they're scared and they don't believe it's possible that this problem can be solved for them. That's why they're saying no. Because if they really believe this problem could be solved for them, they'd do anything to solve it. Would you not agree?
Right. They want to solve that problem through you or someone else.
Never mind through who. They want to solve the problem. They
Right.
either want to solve the problem or they're full of shit. We need to first determine if they want to solve the problem. If they want to solve the problem, once I determine that, then I determine, am I the right person to help them solve the problem? And if the answer is no, I end the call. I do not like taking people's money and not delivering for them. I don't like it when people did that to me, and I won't do that to people. If I don't believe I can deliver, it's over. I say goodbye. I end the call. And I do that 30% of the time. But if I'm the right guy to solve the problem and they're just in their fear, I just haven't done a good enough job of making them feel confident that their fear will vanish once we help them solve the problem.
Right.
That's
I'm
what I go
curious
for, man. That's what I go
Right.
for. And if you don't go for that in your business, then honestly, and I'm going to say this with all love and respect, but shame on you, there's someone who could use your help. And because you are afraid of how you're going to look in front of them, you back off? Is that why God put you here on this earth, to look good in front of people? Or to be one of his chosen angels that helps make people's lives better?
Right. I'm curious your thoughts on how much of sales is like a personality trait or like you like have to build towards that trait and that skill.
There's no personality trait in sales, man. I know people that are boisterous and are good salespeople. I know people that are um, introverts that are good salespeople. I know people who speak English brilliantly in complete sentences and paragraphs that are good salespeople. And I know people whose English is very poor and they speak with a thick accent and are good salespeople. But good salespeople are people that, first and foremost, want to help people. They want to help people. That's why they're in this field. And then
Right.
they want to they want to engage with them because they can see these people are scared and they know that they're not scared and they're going to move them past their fear. My job as a salesperson is to move my prospect past their fear if they're the right person. So I do a lot of qualifying up front, right? First of all, I determine that they want to solve the problem. Second of all, I determine that they're the right person. Like they're coachable, they're a good fit for me. I'm a good fit for them. Once I'm clear on all that, I go all in. I go all in. If I'm not clear on all that, then I don't even bother because it's not fair to them and it's not fair to me. I don't want to work with somebody that I think is going to be a pain in the butt to work with and aren't going to do anything I say. Forget it.
Right.
Forget it.
Which makes sense. I'm curious what your last thoughts would be to the audience, if like your tips or thoughts, what that would be.
If you own a business and you're struggling to make sales, um, you know, jump on a phone call with me and I'll help you figure out what's getting in your way. And if you own a business and you're struggling with being visible and branded, jump on a phone call with me and let's see what's wrong with how you're thinking and how you operate. And I'll do this for free. I'll have an initial call with everyone for free. I don't charge for those initial calls. I could, but I don't.
Okay. If people want to find you online, where can they go to?
I'm the only Nicky Billou on planet Earth, so go on any major social media
Okay.
platform and type in my name. I'll show up.
There you go.
Nicky Billou. But I have a website called ecircleacademy.com. That's my main website. Go check it out over there. And like you say, I've done 1,000 episodes as a host and I've done 1,000 episodes as a guest. So there's over 2,000 episodes in the ether where I'm on shows.
Well, there you go. Well, guys, go find them. Thank you all for being here and tuning in. And until next time, stay hungry.